Imagine for a moment that you are carrying a backpack. But this isn't a normal backpack. It is filled with lead bricks, and you have been wearing it for 10 years. You sleep in it, you shower in it, you drive to work in it. You have worn it for so long that your spine has permanently curved to accommodate the weight. You have forgotten what it feels like to stand up straight. Now, imagine the precise second you unclip the straps and let it drop to the floor. That specific sensation, that rush of blood, that sudden lightness, that ability to finally inhale, is not just physical. It is what happens to the human soul when you finally learn the spiritual art of surrender. Because here is the truth. You were not designed to carry the weight of the world. You were not built to be the general manager of the universe. And today, we are going to look at what actually happens, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, when you take your hands off the wheel and trust God. I'm going to share a story with you that I rarely tell because it is humiliatingly raw, but I have to tell it, because I know I am looking at people right now who are suffocating. For years, I lived with the sensation that there was a grand piano sitting on my chest. Every waking moment was consumed by a crippling, high-definition anxiety over my child's health. It was a silent, invisible weight that pressed down on me from the second I opened my eyes until I finally collapsed into a restless, nightmare-fueled sleep. To the outside world, I was functioning. I smiled at the grocery store clerk. I made small talk at school pickup. I was polite. But inside, I was a building that was slowly imploding. It started small, as these things always do, a diagnosis, a chronic condition. Nothing immediately life-threatening, thank God. But it was there, always there. And at first, my anxiety felt productive. It felt like love. I convinced myself that if I just worried enough, if I just researched enough, I could control the outcome. I could be the master of this chaotic universe. I didn't just worry. I professionalized my worry. I became the general of a one-woman army. I researched every specialist in a 3-state radius. I read obscure medical journals at 3 a.m. I overhauled our diet, created complex spreadsheets tracking symptoms, medications, barometric pressure, you name it. My days became a blur of appointments and hypervigilance. I watched my child like a hawk, analyzing every cough, every shade of pale, every change in mood. I told myself, I am being a good mother. This is what good mothers do. But underneath that frantic activity, the foundation of my soul was turning to dust. The worry stopped being something I did and became who I was. It became the lens through which I saw everything. A simple call from the school nurse would send a spike of adrenaline through my veins, so hot it felt like poison. My heart would hammer against my ribs so hard I couldn't hear the person speaking to me. And the physical toll? My body was keeping the score. My shoulders were permanently knotted near my ears. I had a headache that lived behind my eyes for 2 years. And that tightness in my chest, it was constant. It felt like I was breathing through a straw. People would tell me, "You are so strong." And I would smile weakly, wanting to scream, "I am not strong. I am crumbling." My marriage began to suffer because anxiety is isolating. It builds a wall. My husband would try to be the voice of reason. He would say, "We will get through this," or "Honey, try to relax." But to my anxious mind, that sounded like an attack. It sounded like, "You don't care enough." I felt like I was the only person on earth who understood the stakes. I was the lone sentinel on the wall, and if I slept, everything would fall apart. And spiritually, I was a wasteland. I grew up in church. I knew the verses. I knew Philippians 4:6, "Be anxious for nothing." I knew 1 Peter 5:7, "Cast all your cares on him." But honestly, those verses felt like insults. They felt like hollow greeting card slogans. How could I cast this care? This was my child. To let go felt like negligence. It felt like a betrayal. So instead of releasing it, I clutched it tighter. My prayers weren't conversations. They were negotiations. They were demands. God, fix this. Take this away. Do it now. I wasn't relating to God as a father. I was treating him like an employee who wasn't doing his job. And when the miracle didn't happen on my timeline, resentment started to grow like black mold in my heart. My breaking point didn't happen in a sanctuary. It didn't happen during a worship song. It happened on a bleak Tuesday afternoon in a Kroger parking lot, surrounded by discarded shopping carts. It had been a brutal week. A new symptom had appeared. A doctor had been dismissive. I hadn't slept in 48 hours. I had just finished grocery shopping, a mundane task that felt like climbing Everest. I buckled my child into the car seat, and they looked at me with wide, innocent eyes and asked, "Mommy, what's for dinner?" And that was it. That simple, beautiful, normal question shattered me. It was the contrast between the normalcy of the question and the apocalypse inside my head. I closed the door, walked to the driver's side, and sat there. I couldn't put the key in the ignition. The dam broke. I didn't just cry. I wailed. It was a guttural, ugly sound that tore out of my throat. And right there, with my forehead pressed against the cheap plastic of the steering wheel, I prayed the first honest prayer I had prayed in years. It wasn't eloquent. It was a resignation letter. I whispered, "God, I can't. I quit. I cannot carry this anymore. It is too heavy. It is crushing me. I have tried to be God. I have tried to control every variable. And I have failed. I am done. I give up." I kept repeating it. "I give up. I give up." And then I visualized it. I visualized taking this massive, dark, heavy box that represented my child's health, my fear, my need for control, and physically handing it over. I said, "It is yours. I am releasing it from my hands and putting it into yours. If you don't take this, I will die." I didn't expect anything to happen. A cynical part of me thought, "Great, now you're just crying in a minivan." But then, silence. There was no lightning bolt. The clouds didn't part, but the internal screaming stopped. For the first time in years, the noise in my head went quiet. I took a breath. A real one. The kind that fills the bottom of your lungs. That iron band around my chest loosened. Here is the miracle. Nothing in my circumstances had changed. My child was still sick. The diagnosis was still on the paper. But I had changed. The atmosphere inside the car had shifted. I had finally admitted that I was not God, and the relief of that admission was intoxicating. That night, as I laid my head on the pillow, the old thoughts tried to swarm back in. The what-ifs. But this time I had a weapon. I whispered, "Lord, I already gave that to you. It's in your hands now. I'm not picking it back up." And I remembered the second half of 1 Peter 5:7. "Cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you." I realized he wasn't taking my burden because he was obligated. He was taking it because he loves me. He loves my child more than I do. That truth was the anchor that held me through the night. In the weeks that followed, my life began to transform. My family noticed it first. The tension left my face. I started laughing again. I could actually sit at the dinner table and listen to a story without my mind drifting to a worst-case scenario. My husband got his wife back. My child got their mother back. Spiritually, I moved from a transaction to a relationship. I stopped treating God like a vending machine and started knowing him as a sustainer. I lived inside Matthew 11:28. "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." The key word there is give. You give him the burden. He gives you the rest. It is an exchange. You cannot keep the control and get the peace. You have to trade. This is not a one-time event. It is a daily discipline. Even now, years later, I feel that familiar tightness. I feel the urge to pick the backpack up again. But now I recognize it. I treat it like a warning light on a dashboard. It tells me, you are trying to be God again. And I stop. I breathe. And I surrender. My story is about a sick child. But maybe your backpack looks different. Maybe it is a mountain of debt that keeps you up at night. Maybe it is the shame of a past mistake that you just cannot shake. Maybe it is a broken marriage, or a career that has stalled, or a loneliness that feels like a physical ache. I want you to hear me clearly. You are not designed to carry that. Your shoulders are not broad enough. Your heart is not strong enough. The invitation of Jesus is not for the strong. It is for the weary. It is for the broken. It is for the people who have run out of options. Your breaking point is not the end. It is the beginning. It is the perfect place for God to take over. Peace is not the absence of problems. Peace is the presence of God in the midst of the problems. I want to pray for you right now. Father, I lift up the person on the other side of this screen. You know what is in their backpack. You know the weight they have been hiding from the world. Lord, give them the courage to drop it today. We release the need to control. We release the fear of the future. We trade our heavy yokes for your light one. Take this burden, Lord. It is yours. Give us your rest. Guard our hearts and minds with a peace that makes no logical sense. If you are ready to drop that backpack, I want you to do something bold. In the comments, I want you to type, "I am letting go." That's it. Make it a declaration. I am letting go. And if you feel comfortable, share what you are letting go of. There is power in bringing it into the light. You don't have to carry it another step. Let it go.